Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Clear Politics Takeaway for Tuesday, December 8th. I'm Tom Bevan, co-founder and president of RCP.
And I'm Carl Cannon, Washington Bureau Chief of Real Clear Politics.
Carl, some sad news this morning to report. Chuck Yeager, the iconic test flight pilot who broke the sound barrier and was featured by Tom Wolfe in The Right Stuff, died at 97. We lost another good one in 2020. The list continues to grow.
Yeah, but that's not sad. He lived he had a great life.
Great life.
And there's a Twitter account called God. I don't know if you've seen it. It has like several million followers, Tom.
I have not.
Yeah, he's a guy with a gray beard and a mask on right now. It's a pretty good Twitter feed. Anyway, today he tweeted, Chuck Yeager got here fast.
That's pretty good. But we also, Carl, that's a segue to the latest vaccine news, which is that there's a story out this morning that a 90-year-old grandmother in Britain is the first recipient of the Pfizer vaccine. We're told that Donald Trump's going to be signing an America First order that U.S. citizens are going to get the vaccine first here, and that it could be rolling out as early as 10 days to 2 weeks that folks in the U.S. will start getting vaccinated. And obviously there will be priority for frontline workers and the like. That's all good news, is it not, Carl?
Well, yeah. And look, the priority, I think, in the United States, I mean, it was in Britain, is going to be people in nursing homes and healthcare workers in nursing homes, and then people on the front lines, healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, first responders. I mean, think then you go to the people who are delivering food and who have to be out there. I just wish there could not be politics. And it was among all the other things about 220 and this virus that were unfortunate was that it happened in an election year, because this ought to be something that Joe Biden and his team and President Trump and his team are working with together so that there can be a seamless handoff of the baton. You don't get the feeling that's happening. I hope it's happening behind the scenes. But with the president running around the country, holding rallies and trying to call legislatures back into session and, relitigate the election returns, my worry is that the administration is not spending as much time as it ought organizing how this vaccine is going to be rolled out.
Well, certainly.
Do you share that? Do you share that worry?
I mean, to a certain degree. I mean, I'm sure there are folks that are doing nothing but this in parts of the government. I don't know, how much Donald Trump is focused on it, or quite frankly, that he needs to be at this point, because he's not the one who's going to be making those decisions that, are the logistics of it. So, but you're right. I mean, he's totally focused still on the election. We are, over a month past the election. He is still, calling folks, including apparently, according to a report, the Speaker of the House in Pennsylvania, trying to get him to overturn the results in Pennsylvania. Carl, at what point does this become harmful to democracy? I mean, I know there are folks on the left who would say it's already been. I mean, it's harmful to democracy because ever since November 4th, and he didn't concede the next day. But there are plenty of Trump supporters out there that are saying, look, he has the right and should continue to fight this. And so, we seem stuck in this place, at least, continuing for the time being. But at what point does this become a real problem and an actual threat to democracy? Or does it never become that? Is it just simply, part of the Trump show that goes on until the electors meet, they do their job, and Joe Biden becomes president of the United States?
Tom, in my view, and this is just my opinion, I think it's already a problem. And, I sometimes use football analogies, but a couple of years ago, you remember the Saints and the Rams were playing, and Drew Brees threw a pass, and the Ram defender hit it was clear pass interference, and it would have given the Saints would have won the game.
And gone to the Super Bowl.
And the NFL it was a crisis for the NFL. And they changed the rule. They had to change it back. But people took it seriously. And what they took seriously was, if you follow the analogy, fraud. Now, the referees there didn't, conspire to do anything. They weren't being bribed. They just froze. But what happened was, the league dealt with it. But the Saints did not go to the Super Bowl. The Rams did. And what you'd like to see a president do, even if Donald Trump is I'm convinced that there was fraud. I'm convinced that he's convinced. What he ought to say is, what he ought to use as leverage is to say, listen, I'm going to concede and I'm going to help Joe Biden any way I can. Our country right now, especially with this pandemic, can't have a disruptive handoff of power. But I'm going to do this. And I've talked to Joe Biden with the understanding that both parties are going to come together, and we're going to make sure that elections in the United States are A, on the up and up, and B, are transparent, and C, the people know it, so that everybody has confidence in the election. That's what would be, if a person cared about the country, in my view, that's what he'd be doing. And back to that, the Saints knew they were jobbed, but they didn't stay on the field. They didn't refuse to leave the field. They didn't show up at the Super Bowl anyway and go on the field and say, no, we're playing. They made it clear that they thought they'd been jobbed, but they abided by the rules. And that's what I think the President of the United States should do.
Well, since you mentioned football, Carl, I'll give you the last word. Since last night, your Washington football team defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers, the last undefeated team in the NFL. And on Sunday, the New York Giants beat my Seattle Seahawks. The lowly NFC East is suddenly a powerhouse, Carl. What's going on here?
Well, what's going on is it's 2020, Tom. Joseph Biden is president-elect of the United States. This guy ran 3 times. He never got out of the starting gate the first time. The second time he finished so far up the field, we forgot he ran. Barack Obama,
he was left for dead until
Barack Obama made him vice president on the condition that he never run again. And then he would, you're right. He was left for dead in Iowa and New Hampshire. He showed up in South Carolina and read the stage directions to his followers. I'm in South Carolina. They're African Americans. African Americans like me. Please vote for me. That's the new president of the United States. So anything can happen,
including the Washington football team
beating the Pittsburgh Steelers,
making the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah, let's not.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there. I'm Tom Bevan, co-founder and president of RealClearPolitics.
And I'm Carl Cannon, Washington Bureau Chief. And this has been the Real Clear Politics Takeaway for Tuesday, December 8th, 2020.